Oh, thank you. And I'm schwitzing. I haven't been running around, but I'm schwitzing. Okay, well, first of all, I want to welcome everyone from near and far because I know there's people from Florida, Terre Haute, and Indianapolis, Lafayette, Fort Wayne, Evansville. I hope I didn't miss anybody. We welcome you to our annual Hoosier Jewish Legends Award. I'd like to let you know who the committee is that has put this together. Gail Halpern and Elaine Glansman, who are back in the back. Elaine, raise your hand. She's my co-chair, or I'm her co-chair. Yeah. Barbara Goldman, she's somewhere in the middle here. My daughter, Rochelle Greenwald, who lives in California. I couldn't do it without her because she's the techie person. Marcia Goldstein, Lori Katz, Leslie Katz, Sally Seidenstein, and her helper, Jeff, our photo taker today. Alan Gilbert, who lives in Fort Wayne, Gary Mervis, who lives in Kokomo, Steve Bulloff, who's going to be our kind of chairperson for today, Isabel Silverman, who's over there where our books and publications are, Kevin Korn, our president, and Judy Weitzman, who's out there taking your checking off that you're here. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how we got here. During the Indiana Bicentennial Celebration, IJH was established the Indiana Historical Society's Legends Hall of Fame. The Jewish Legends Hall of Fame inducted its first class of Hoosier Jews in conjunction with its annual meeting and luncheon in 2016. The Hoosier Jewish Legends Hall of Fame recognizes Jewish and non-Jewish Hoosiers who have made a significant and lasting impact to their profession, community, and the fabric of our cultural heritage in the Jewish community of Indiana. A statewide panel of 5 individuals, living or deceased, who have made significant contributions to faith-based and civic life in Indiana. Judges are not from our board or from our committee. All nominations are retained for at least 3-year period and are considered on an annual basis for selection. If anyone here would like to nominate someone, please let me know and I will send you an application, or you can go to our website and get the application online. That's a little bit of background. I would first like to introduce, oh, well, wait a minute. Turn off your phones, please. That's the best thing, right? Turn off your phones. Also, on the table, you might find some information about how to join the Indiana Jewish Historical Society. We have flyers and brochures that you can take home with you and maybe pass out to your friends or family who would like to be a member. The restrooms are out those doors to my left. I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of the Jewish Federation of Indianapolis, Mark Swartz, for greetings.
Thank you, Sheila. It's such a pleasure to be with you all here today. Thank you for joining us, and a big thank you to the Indiana Jewish Historical Society for this wonderful program. I'm Mark Swartz, and on behalf of the Federation, I am proud to say that we are honored to co-sponsor today's celebration. I want to start by recognizing Michael Brown, the Executive Director of the Historical Society. Michael, congratulations on today's event. And with all due respect to today's nominees, I think that the committee that Sheila mentioned today are the real Hoosier legends. I mean, wow, what a group. Yes, I think this was right. Thank you all for your tireless work to preserve the stories that make our community in Indiana so rich and meaningful. You and the society ensure that our past will be remembered and will continue to inspire future generations. Today, we're here to honor 5 Hoosier Jewish legends, people whose leadership, generosity, and spirit have helped shape Jewish life across our state. You remind us all that history is not just something that we remember, it's something that we build. Your stories are a call to each of us to continue the work that you all have begun and continue to do in many cases, strengthening our institutions, uplifting our neighbors, and ensuring that Jewish life in Indiana remains vibrant, inclusive, and enduring. So as we celebrate these legends, let's also think about how we can carry their legacy forward, whether it's volunteering or mentoring, supporting Jewish organizations, or simply showing up like you all have today. Each of us has a role to play. Let's keep building our beautiful Jewish community together so that there's a vibrant, inclusive, and ready Jewish community for the future. Thank you again for being here. Mazel tov to all of our honorees, and let's enjoy this beautiful afternoon together.
Thank you, Mark. And now I'd like to call on our Executive Director, Michael Brown, who will tell you about what we've done this year.
Thank you again, Sheila. We couldn't do this without you year after year. I really appreciate all your hard work on this. And I want to thank you for coming here today. Really blown away by a number of people here. Always astounds me how much this program grows year after year. So good afternoon, everyone. It is an incredible honor to stand before you today as the Executive Director of the Indiana Jewish Historical Society. My name is Michael Brown, and I want to express my deep gratitude to some of the partners who make events like this possible. First and foremost, thank you to Sheila Greenwald and the Legends Committee and judges. Your dedication and thoughtfulness in planning this event are outstanding, and the Legends judges selections for this year's inductees have been genuinely inspiring. So let's all give them another round of applause. I also want to extend my thanks to the Board of Directors of the Indiana Jewish Historical Society, whose guidance and vision continues to propel us forward. Let's give them a round of applause as well. And we're especially grateful to the Indianapolis JCC for welcoming us into the space again in the Lakin Auditorium, and to the Jewish Federation of Greater Indianapolis for once again sponsoring this event. So thank you again, Mark, appreciate it. And let's give them a round of applause again. Your support amplifies the work that we do and ensures that we can continue sharing our stories at this Hoosier Jewish Legends Hall of Fame. It's not just about celebrating individuals, it's about honoring the community they represent. Let's give our Hoosier Jewish Legends a long round of applause. They certainly deserve it. So our Hoosier Jewish Legends event recognizes the complex tapestry of Jewish life here in Indiana, both past and present. It serves as a reminder of our work here at the Indiana Jewish Historical Society and why it's so important. We are preserving more than photographs, more than documents. We are preserving Jewish memories, dreams, and struggles. I invite each one of you to join us here at the Indiana Jewish Historical Society in our efforts. Over the past year, we made remarkable strides. We've expanded our footprint of historical markers across the state, visible reminders of Jewish contributions in towns and cities, because we ultimately want to document and remember Hoosier Jewish history, from everywhere from South Bend to Vincennes, from East Chicago to Evansville, and everywhere in between. These markers stand as a permanent testament to the people who shaped Indiana's story for generations. We also have intensified our commitment to digitization, making our archives more accessible than ever before. Through the tireless efforts of our volunteers and archivists, we're bringing documents, photographs, memories online, ensuring they're preserved not only today, but for future generations of Hoosiers, both Jewish and non-Jewish alike. Currently, a heavy burden has been placed on smaller historical societies, as we've seen state and federal governments reduce financial support for the humanities and historical preservation. Many nonprofit budgets have been slashed, including the Indiana Historical Society, sadly, the Indiana Historical Bureau, Indiana Humanities, and our local libraries and humanities departments at state universities, and humanities departments at state universities. This means that we have fewer partnership opportunities and will need more help from donors like you to increase our impact. This point comes at a time of transition, as many of our smaller Jewish communities continue to close or merge, sadly, leaving us with the significant task of recording and preserving their histories before they disappear forever. That is why we have created a new partnership with the recently created Riverlands Jewish Archive. This collaboration will broaden our regional reach and enrich our collection with shared stories of Jewish life in the heart of the Midwest. Our podcast, In Jewish History, continues to grow, sharing powerful stories of Indiana's Jewish communities through voices that make history come alive. If you haven't listened to it, I encourage you to do so. You'll laugh, you'll learn, you'll leave feeling inspired. As more people trace their roots and reclaim their histories, I want to thank our partners, the Northeast Indiana Jewish Genealogical Society, for your incredible hard work on this conference, the International Association of Jewish Genealogical Societies in Fort Wayne that we recently had. It was truly inspirational seeing so many people fascinated in family Jewish history. Lastly, I emphasize that none of this happens without you. By becoming a member of the Indiana Jewish Historical Society, by donating, volunteering, donating photographs, documents, you become a guardian of our Hoosier Jewish past. One of the oldest continuously published American Jewish history journals is our annual publication, Indiana Jewish History. You can go over there, get a copy. It's $10 a day. If you go back to the website, it's $18. If you go online and look at other websites, it could be up to $30. So if you have a chance, go over there to Izzy and Melanie. It's $10, all the copies, no matter what year, on this one day. Lastly, I just want to say that we are also in the process of digitizing the Joe Levine collection, the founding director of the Indiana Jewish Historical Society, which documents his remarkable post-war work assisting Holocaust refugees in West Germany. We hope this project will lead to a special publication that honors his legacy and will be one of the most significant stories we've ever told. It's donors and future donors like you who help ensure these stories of Indiana's Jewish past do not fade. Your support makes it possible for a student to find their grandmother's name in an online archive, or for a grandchild to hear their grandfather's voice in a podcast, and for a historian to fall in love over a story that might otherwise be lost. I ask you today not only to celebrate these legends, but also to join us in the work of remembrance. Let us honor our Hoosier Jewish legends past together. Thank you. Toda Rabbah.
Thank you, Michael. Now for the reason that we all came. Let's honor our Hoosier Jewish legends. And I'd like to introduce, what's your name again? Steve Bulloff, who's going to do the presentations. Thank you. Steve?
Good afternoon, everybody. They say that some people need no introduction. Unfortunately for me, that isn't true with this group. So it is my honor to represent the board of directors today and to present our honorees. Before I begin, I would like to say that our current president, Professor Kevin Korn, couldn't be with us today. He's gone to great lengths to avoid this responsibility. He's recovering from surgery, and we send him our prayers. And hurry back, Kevin, we miss you. Our first honoree is the Honorable Judge Evan Goodman. Evan grew up in Terre Haute, where he displayed leadership and a deep connection with Judaism. He was a religious school teacher, active in the youth group, served as president of the youth group, and was a frequent finalist in the Ohio Valley Federation of Temple Youth Sermon Contest. Barbie Steneker, a friend from Terre Haute, notes, quote, "He was always interested in equality and fighting against prejudices of any type. Evan hitchhiked to Washington, D.C. in August 1963 for the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom," end quote. At that march, he was about 20 rows from Reverend Martin Luther King when King gave his "I Have a Dream" speech. After graduating from law school at the University of Tulsa, I didn't even know they had a law school at the University of Tulsa, Evan moved to Indianapolis, where he practiced law for 11 years. In 1982, he was appointed as the first judge of the Marion County Mental Health Court, the first mental health court in the United States. This court, which specialized in domestic violence and its causes and treatment needs, was his idea. And he served as the founding judge of not only the mental health court, but as the first judge of the domestic violence court in Indiana. He was appointed to be chief judge of the Marion County Municipal Courts and was elected to the Superior Court bench in 2000. He has appeared on Good Morning America and National Public Radio, has been a presenter locally and nationally on various legal subjects, including drunk driving, domestic violence, mental health issues, and has taught at Ball State in the Jewish Studies program and as an adjunct professor at the IU Law School. In addition to the myriad of his legal accomplishments, Evan has contributed a great deal to the local religious and secular community. As a member of Indianapolis Hebrew congregation, Evan has served on various committees, led workshops, and taught both youth and adult students, helped found a Havarah, served on the IHC Foundation board, and also as a representative to the Midwest Regional Union of American Hebrew Congregations, now the Union for Reform Judaism. He has generously given his time and talents preparing bar and bat mitzvah students, chaperoning a Confirmand New York trip, serving meals at the Concord Center, and participating in the Interfaith Hospitality Network, which is now Family Promise of Greater Indianapolis. Along with his wife, Linda, Evan provided monthly Shabbat services, Torah study, and Passover Seders for the residents of the Park Regency Senior Retirement Facility here in Indianapolis. Within the Secular Committee, Evan has been a member of the Indiana Prayer Breakfast Steering Committee, which is enlightening this basically Christian organization to Judaism and inclusive religious language. He's served on several boards focusing on mental health issues, provided monthly Meals on Wheels for over 30 years, and participated in building 6 Habitat for Humanity homes. He has been the recipient of a long list of national and local awards and recognitions. Evan has noted, quote, "My life and my Jewish life are one and the same. The few accomplishments to my credit are from my parents' teaching, my Jewish studies, and rabbis, my staff who worked so hard, and my wife and children and their spouses who made sense of the world. I am sure I could have been better had I studied more, but won't stop now," end quote. Evan is married to Linda, who served as the executive director at Indianapolis Hebrew Congregation for 16 years. He is the father of the late Adam Goodman, an educator who passed away from cancer in 2017, and of daughter Katie Shapiro, who is married to John. She's a therapist. He is also the stepfather of Darren Halcomb, who's married to Jenna, a lawyer and a proud grandfather of 3. In whatever free time he can possibly find, Evan enjoys studying biblical Hebrew, reading, playing golf, and exercising. Cantor Janice Roger from IHC sums up Evan as follows, quote, Evan has proven time and time again that he is a good man, end quote. His devotion to justice, his love of learning, both Jewish and secular, his love of family and commitment to community are among the many reasons that he deserves to be honored today as a Hoosier Jewish legend. Mazel tov, Evan, on being recognized. Please come on up.
Wow. Thank you. Thanks. Who was that guy I talked about? Wow, that's gave my whole speech and more. I'm glad to see so many Jewish and non-Jewish friends of mine here today, and my family from Chicago and from local, and my wife, and even Todd, I think is part of my family. So how did I become a Jewish legend? I mean, that's the great question. Well, I had a lot of help. America, to me, there's no other place in the world that I could have become what I became and what I have achieved, because in America, being Jewish, you can even be a judge. Not so in a lot of places. I'm beholden to the United States of America. And every time I hear the Star Spangled Banner, I get teary-eyed. It just does something to me. When I was starting out, I got hired by the probate court as a commissioner in the probate court. And Barb Leventhal was there. And she was such a kind and graceful person. It gave me all kinds of confidence. She was just a delight, especially when we had the probate golf open and she beat the judge. I was assigned to the involuntary mental health commitment cases because I was the last guy hired. And I couldn't spell chronic undifferentiated schizophrenia, let alone know the society had an issue with it. And one of the parts of the mental illness that we dealt with were the developmentally disabled. We used to call them the retarded citizens, but we're all developmentally disabled, you know? I'm sure if I lived 1,000 years, I'd never understand Einstein. So we had the hearings, and the developmentally disabled came into the court from Muscatatuck, way south in Indiana, the state hospital. And they came with helmets and straitjackets to protect themselves and others from injury. And I thought, gosh, that's awful to have to drive them all the way here. So I asked the judge, couldn't I go down to Muscatatuck and hear the cases? Fine. So one of the cases, a cart patient. And I asked the nurse, I'm trying to learn. I said, well, what's the therapy for this patient? Well, a few things, and the aquatic therapy pool. Gee, that's wonderful. How often does he do that? 3 times a week, she said. You're trying to figure out what to ask next. And I said, well, when did he do it last? Oh, it was about 4 months ago. What? Even for a layman, I don't understand. If he did it 3 times a week, how come it's been so long ago? Well, the pool's been broken. Okay. So I ordered the pool fixed. I gave him a reasonable time. I didn't know that as a commissioner, I didn't have authority to do that, but neither did they. So they fixed the pool. And neat thing about it was I realized that one person could help repair a small bit of the world. We call it in Hebrew, tikkun olam, the duty to repair the world. And from then on, that one case gave me the impetus to continue doing all the things that he said. Having said how important it is being Jewish and American in my life, let's see what the Torah says about how to make America great again. We have no king, we do have leaders. And the Torah says about choosing kings and leaders, choose a person who is humble, choose a person who does not have too many wives, choose a person who does not have too much gold and silver, not too many horses, one who has to write 2 Torahs, keeping one with him all the time, so he will not become so his heart will not become haughty. So if we follow those in the next election and find somebody like that, we'll make America great again. My friend and my court administrator, Ruth Bibbs, came today. She's sitting over here with my family. I've worshiped in her church, the Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church. When I was running for election, I spoke to the congregation one Sunday as a joke. I said, vote for me so Ruth could keep her job. About 6 months later, I ran into one of the parishioners. They said, well, we heard you. We voted for you, and Ruth kept her job. I said, oh, right. Cantor Roger, Rabbi Benjamin Sindro, Rabbi Bruce Pfeffer, all have become major parts of my life, having helped me, educated me. And I know Mickey Core is here, and Dr. Alex Core is going to say something about that, but it's just strange that he and I were on the same honoree list, and he'll tell you why. So thank you all for indulging me. I had to cut out about 1,000 pages of this because of the time limit, but I'm sure you're all very grateful, and thank you.
We have enough lawyers in the room, we could start a firm. Our next honoree of blessed memory is Michael Mickey Core. Mickey was born on October 24th, 1925 in Riga, Latvia, into a religious family made up of his parents, 3 other brothers, and his maternal grandmother. He spent his childhood playing sports, especially soccer, and attended one of the neighborhood's 98 Jewish elementary schools, experiencing Riga's vibrant Jewish cultural life. At that time, Jews were Riga's largest minority group, constituting 11% of the city's population. Unfortunately, in July 1941, Mickey's life changed forever when the Nazis occupied and brutalized Riga's Jewish population. Many of his family members and both of his parents were murdered, some as part of the 2-day Rambula forest massacre, in which 25,000 innocents perished. When the Latvian Navy discovered that Zori, his oldest brother, was Jewish, they threw him overboard into the Baltic Sea and he drowned. Over the next 4 years, Mickey survived the unimaginable. First, 2 years of confinement in the Riga ghetto, and then into forced labor at 3 Nazi concentration camps, including Buchenwald, Stutthof, and Kaiserwald. Mickey endured the barbaric conditions of the camps and the frigid cold of the Eastern European winters. In the late stages of the war, Mickey and hundreds of other prisoners were taken on a death march, where the Nazis intended to execute them to cover up war crimes. Knowing his life was on the line, Mickey made a daring escape by running from his captors and finding refuge in the ruins of an abandoned building. Years later, he paid homage to his favorite professional football team by comparing his sprint to freedom to the prowess of Indianapolis Colts running back Edgerrin James. That's the type of guy he was. Mickey was liberated by a group of American GIs from the 250th Engineer Combat Battalion, led by Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Neff, who hailed from Terre Haute, Indiana. Because Mickey was fluent in both German and Russian and knew the local area, the Army used his skills as a translator. Soon he taught himself English by reading the Stars and Stripes newspaper. With the assistance of the Neff family, Mickey eventually emigrated to Terre Haute, where he enrolled in and finished high school. After a stint at Indiana State Teachers College, where he was taught by Indiana basketball legend John Wooden, Mickey attended Purdue University in West Lafayette, where he became a lifelong Oiler sports fanatic and completed his pharmacy degree in 1952. Before starting his career, Mickey proudly served his country by enlisting in the Army and was stationed in Okinawa, Japan during the Korean War. In 1960, after a 2-week whirlwind courtship during his visit to Israel, he married Eva Moses Kaur, a marriage that was to last 59 years. And they later raised their son Alex and daughter Rena, providing them a childhood that they themselves had been denied. Mickey enjoyed a decades-long career as a caring and compassionate registered pharmacist, revered by his Terre Haute customers, covering the cost out of his own pocket for the many who couldn't afford to pay for their own prescriptions. Ultimately, he became a United States citizen, never taking his citizenship for granted. He turned into the consummate Hoosier. Freedom meant something different to Mickey than it did the rest of us. Mickey became active in numerous community affairs and political endeavors and was known as being a gifted writer, a youth sports coach, and a musician. In 1995, Eva and Mickey jointly opened the Candles Holocaust Museum and Education Center in Terre Haute. They worked on it as a team, with Eva becoming the internationally known face of the effort, while Mickey, with his quiet and calm demeanor, provided support behind the scenes. Mickey began to appreciate the opportunity to make a major educational impact with his life story. In addition to his financial support, he served as a museum docent and began to lecture to audiences at the museum. Realizing he was positively affecting future generations, including inspiring thousands of grade school children and others with his incredible story of triumph and survival. Though in 2003, the museum was burned to the ground by white supremacists, Eva and Mickey rallied with the help of the community and rebuilt the museum. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the museum as Indiana's only Holocaust museum and the only museum in the world dedicated to preserving the story of the Mengele twins, of which Eva was one. More than 30,000 visitors have walked through its doors since its founding. Shortly before his death in October 2021, Mickey was named a Hoosier by choice by Indiana Living, and he will be featured next summer in an exhibit at the New York Museum of Jewish Heritage. Mickey's story of perseverance, courage, loyalty, his dedication to educate future generations about the Holocaust, and his love for his adopted state of Indiana clearly makes him truly worthy of recognition. He became a beacon of light for others to follow. Today, it is my great privilege to add one more well-deserved honor to Mickey's collection, that of being a Hoosier Jewish legend. And I'd like to invite Dr. Alex Kaur to accept this.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thanks. Good afternoon. Thank you very much. So on behalf of my father, I'm going to take this off, who would be celebrating his 100th birthday this October, I really greatly appreciate this honor from the Indiana Jewish Historical Society and in recognizing my father. This day really would not have been possible without the incredible dedication, endorsement, generosity of a lot of people at my table, Beth Nairn, Ted Green, who's taking this picture in front of me, Dr. John Abrams, Graham Honecker, Troy Fears, Megan Wallace, all the staff at Candles Holocaust Museum, Kevin Bollinger, Amy Grove, John Shively, David McCullough, Sam Levin. So really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. As Stephen said, over the years, at my mom's side, my dad would tell me, he would say, Alex, I like to keep a low profile. Well, described by many as having a heart of a lion and the soul of a poet, my father really did play a key role in my mom's success and the current status of Candles Holocaust Museum in mandating Holocaust education in our state and in teaching the ills of hate, prejudice, anti-Semitism, bigotry to all generations that he would come in contact with. And, whether he was at Candles giving a tour, at a Purdue basketball, football game, at a pharmacy working, my dad always greeted everyone with politeness, kindness, and a genuine appreciation. And to Judge Goodman, I didn't know this until about last April, but when my father was working at Copeland Pharmacy, there was a teenager that came in. I think my dad made you a lot of floats and drinks. So I appreciate you mentioning that. And so, when he was at Candles, many of you may have visited, he always would conclude his presentation with a piano recital, whether it was Autumn Leaves or The Fiddler on the Roof or Beseo Mucho. And if the audience, shed a tear, that was his litmus test. He had done his job. Both of my parents, raised me to be kind, appreciate others, and encouraged me to pursue random acts of kindness. And was mentioned earlier, on April 15th, 1945, my dad was on a death march outside of Buchenwald, and he thought he'd make a go for it, and he ran, and they shot after him. My Uncle Leo was still on the line. He did survive. And several hours later, after a fierce battle, my dad was still hiding in a bunker, and he heard this weird language. And he thought, well, maybe it's got to be either the Americans or the British. So he came up with his hands up, and 2 American GIs gave him a Coca-Cola. When I was a little kid, I didn't know what Pepsi was. We had Coca-Cola breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the leader of that troop that was mentioned was Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Neff from Terre Haute, Indiana. And obviously, Mr. Neff made it possible for my dad to emigrate to Terre Haute and ultimately lived his entire life there. Always remembering what others did for him, he also kind of passed the buck forward. About a year ago, I was at a movie fundraiser, and I heard this story, and this is about 3 years after my dad passed away, but I was introduced to a PhD in nursing, a nurse practitioner. And when she found out I was from Terre Haute, and after speaking with her mother, she told me, I need to tell you something about your dad. I had never heard this story, and she said, I didn't know the story either. I was 3 years old. A doctor gave me a prescription. We were on welfare. We were in a homeless shelter in Terre Haute. We went to the local pharmacy. The prescription cost us $3. We had no money. The pharmacist paid for the medicine, and I quickly recovered. That pharmacist was my dad. So lastly, a few months after my mom passed away, my dad was in a nursing home in Terre Haute. And as you can tell, he was always a Purdue fan. So I walked into the exercise room. He was riding a stationary bike, watching the news, and he had a big smile on his face. And he said, "Alex, I feel really good today. Purdue won last night. You're doing well. Rena's doing well. I think I can live forever." With this honor, I think he can. I think he will. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you. Sorry.
In case you're wondering, the microphone is not part of the award. Our next honoree of blessed memory is Barry D. Ruth, who achieved so much in his life, which has been defined by success, service, and leadership. I know it is with great joy that he is receiving this Legends Award today, but it's with equal sadness as we must acknowledge his very recent passing in March of this year. Barry was born in 1957 in Chicago. He grew up in Northwest Indiana, surrounded by a village of love and warmth that was centered around the Jewish community. He was active in AZA and then later AE Pi fraternity at IU. He was the president of Beth Israel in Munster, Indiana. Under his leadership, the congregation thrived and blossomed. During his tenure, Barry led a demographic study which helped make the difficult decision to move his congregation from Hammond to Munster. He was involved in the Jewish Federation, a member of the Hevra Kadisha, and helped to facilitate a very important suicide awareness seminar during a time of community crisis. Barry also built a successful law practice. He was a superstar lawyer with many, many awards. As a personal injury lawyer, he was a fierce advocate for his clients, based on his strong Jewish upbringing of what was right and what was not. This was the same moral path that he used to guide his children, Jenny, who is married to Ryan, and Jessica, and grandchild Harvey, as well as his devotion to his family, friends, clients, and community, both Jewish and secular. Barry loved to travel, especially with his wife, Holly. He enjoyed skiing, hiking, cycling, and various outdoor activities. He had a passion for music and reading. His thirst for knowledge knew no limits. Vador Vador, from generation to generation, was the essence of Barry's accomplishment as a Jewish legend. He will be greatly missed. I'd like to invite his brother, Robbie, up to accept this award.
This is my sister-in-law, Holly Ruth. Speaking for Holly and my nieces, Jennifer and Jessica, we truly thank the Honorable Margaret Robb for nominating Barry and the Indiana Jewish Historical Society for bestowing this incredible award. Our family is so proud. To me, Barry is a true legend. for his professional contributions, for his contributions to the Jewish community in Northwest Indiana, and just for being, excuse me, just a true mensch. In the law, Barry spent his entire career working tirelessly alongside Holly to represent the victims of injustice. He always conducted himself with grace and honor and civility. He was respected by judges, by his opponents, by the jurors, and of course, his clients. Two of the more notable cases involved there are mass medical malpractice cases that are incredibly rare. In separate occasions, there were two doctors that were engaged in a pattern of fraud over a long period of time and significantly harmed hundreds of patients in each instance. It was a huge undertaking, and having to go through several trials in each case, Barry successfully concluded each of those in landmark cases, really. As Steve mentioned, Lador Vador, the Jewish religion, in the Jewish religion, posterity is so important for us. Our survival depends upon it. And so do the customs and traditions. My grandparents moved to Munster, Indiana in the 1940s. Barry and I were raised in a village. It was Knesset Israel then, Rabbi Frank Plotky, Cantor Nauman. And we were at the synagogue all the time. Our parents were deeply involved. All their friends were part of KI. It was just part of our life. And then AZA, and as Steve mentioned, API down at IU. And Barry truly was a bridge from generation to generation. As Steve mentioned, as president of the congregation, he had congregants that had been there for many, many years and fixed in their ways. And there was also a very strong, more youthful element of the congregation. And in the Midwest, as you know, the survival of the Jewish communities in the small towns depends upon our parents' children moving back to the community and becoming involved. And through his role in the synagogue, Barry was very much able to be that bridge. As in performing acts of loving kindness. When one of his friends died, Barry became very active in the Chevra. And I don't even know if it's appropriate to speak about, because you're not to be thanked, but it was so important because as he became involved, he brought friends and myself, and that Chevra had been going on for 75 years at that time, and that inspired others to start other Chevras. So there is a very inspiring force in that regard. And then there's this incredible friend circle, many of whom are here. It's pretty easy to go from an Orthodox set of grandparents to grandchildren who don't practice Judaism, who don't know how to make chopped liver. But Barry was such an important force in this group that they raised their kids together with Judaism, with cultural aspects, religious aspects, and today, so many of their kids and Barry's grandson Harvey are celebrating Shabbat. And that's no small feat. I'm sorry I didn't want to do this. So on behalf of my grandparents and parents and our family and Beth Israel and the Northwest Jewish Federation, Northwest Indiana Jewish Federation, and Albert Einstein AZA, chapter 205, and the alumni of Beta Iota A Pi. We thank you so much. You're such a big part of all of us, and cementing his legacy will forever be a blessing to all of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Robbie, for doing such good justice for Barry. Barry passed in March. He knew he was being nominated for this award, and I read him every letter of recommendation. He listened to every word, and he cried. And we have all asked ourselves if we made a difference at the end of our lives. And I know that today, getting this award for Barry, he made a difference. And thank goodness he knew he did. So I thank you, everyone, and I thank you on Barry's behalf.
Our next honoree is Jeffrey H. Smulyan. Jeff was born and raised in Indianapolis. He's the son of Natalie and Sam Smulyan. He is a multi-generational Jewish Hoosier, as his grandfather, Robert Stoken, was the founder and past president of Congregation Beth El Zedek here in Indianapolis. His father, Sam, was also a past president of that synagogue. Jeff follows in his parents' footsteps, being a leader and supporter of Beth El Zedek and of Jewish civic and business communities throughout our city and state. He is a cum laude graduate who received both his BA and JD from the University of Southern California. And he also had a chance to serve as a member of the Board of Trustees of USC. But in 1973, Jeff decided to return to Indianapolis, where he was named vice president and general manager of his father's WNTS radio station. In 1980, he founded EMIS, which is the Hebrew word for truth, Broadcasting Corporation. By 1986, EMIS was the largest privately owned radio broadcasting company in the United States. At one time, EMIS owned 15 television stations, 6 monthly city regional magazines, and more than 20 radio stations. Perhaps Jeff is best known for what he did in 1989 when he purchased the Seattle Mariners Major League Baseball team, which he later sold, and we should ask him whether he regrets that decision or not. Jeff continues to serve as founder and chairman of the board of EMIS Corporation, which is formerly EMIS Communications, which is a Indianapolis-based diversified company. He is currently leading EMIS through a transition from slower growth traditional media assets to new businesses with better growth profiles. Jewish and civic leaders, including CEOs, mayors, governors, members of Congress, and rabbis, have all sought out Jeff for his advice, vision, and leadership on the most pressing issues facing our Jewish community today, our city, and our state, and our country. Mayor Joe Hogsett wrote, quote, "As mayor of Indianapolis, I have witnessed firsthand the impact Jeff has had on our city and beyond as a visionary broadcast leader, business owner, and philanthropist, end quote. In 1994, Jeff was named by the White House to head the USA delegation to the Plenipotentiary Conference, that's easy for him to say, of International Telecommunications Union. As a USA ambassador, he helped negotiate a landmark agreement between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. Jeff has received numerous honors and recognition, so just to name a few, he is a former director of the National Association of Broadcasters, former chair of the Radio Advertising Bureau, past chair of the Central Indiana Corporate Partnership. He has received the National Association of Broadcasters National Radio Award and has been inducted into the Broadcasting and Cable Hall of Fame and the Indiana Business Hall of Fame. MS was named one of Fortune's magazine's 100 best companies to work for its vibrant collaborative culture. In 2022, Jeff wrote, "Never Ride a Roller Coaster Upside Down," about his life as a risk-taking entrepreneur and former manager of wildly diverse personalities such as David Letterman, Ken Griffey Jr., and Don Imus. Jeff has been recognized as a living legend of Indiana by the Indiana Historical Society. But of all of Jeff's accomplishments, the ones that he's most proud of is his beautiful growing family. His wife, Heather, his 3 children, Carrie, Brad, and Samantha, his daughter-in-law, Leslie, and his 2 grandchildren, Liam and Quinn. So mazel tov, Jeff, for being named as a Hoosier Jewish legend. Please come on up.
Steve, thank you. And thank you to the Indiana Jewish Historical Society. Special thanks to my good friend, Greg Silver, as well as some other, the members of the committee. I'm honored. Listen, I've been given a lot of awards. I am very proud of them. I'm humbled. I'm smart enough to know that I've never won anything except for the fact that a lot of people who've worked with me have made me look a lot smarter than I am. If you don't believe that, talk to Dick Leventhal or Mason Goodman or Dennis Sasso and they'll confirm that. But it has been a fun journey. It's been a journey that I've enjoyed every step of the way. I've been surrounded by my family and my friends. I cannot tell you how good it has made me feel to have the love and support of my family. Heather's here, Sam's here, Brad's here, Liam, Quinn, as well as Carrie and Leslie. They've been with me all the way. My family has schlepped to so many stupid awards you cannot imagine. I was thinking today, San Francisco, Las Vegas, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. Today is a little unique for me because it's the one time that the one person who was always my biggest fan, my sister Dale's not here. Dale went to everywhere and we used to tease her that she would listen to every podcast, read every article, go to every stupid award ceremony. That was Dale. I love her and miss her. On the other hand, I've got Quinn and Liam here today. And that's very nice. It's wonderful that family's here. But this is really about family. I guess I'm the first member of my family that's been inducted. But my family, like all of your families, shares a remarkable history. My family came here 140 years ago. They came here with nothing. Now, those of you who knew my late mother, Natalie, looking at you, Elliot, and Linda, Mom used to joke that, you know, maybe we came over in the Mayflower. And we used to kid Mom and say, Mom, it was the Mayflower from Minsk. Make no mistake about it. The family, like all the families, came here with nothing but a dream. It was a dream, excuse me, about a better life for their families. My family found that here. My family found education. They found community. They found compassion. They found economic success, all in a strange, out of the way place that most people wouldn't think Jews would live. I have to tell you one quick story. When I started Emmis, we had a rep from New York, and she said, "You're not going to believe this, but the name Emmis is the name of the Jewish word for truth." And I, being me, said, "What is Hebrew?" And she said, "Well, it's a Hebrew word, it's a Jewish word." And I said, and this went on for a few minutes. I said, "Did you ever think there might be Jews in Indiana and you might be talking to one?" And she said, I just didn't think there were any Jews in Indiana." Well, we're here. We've been here. My family's been here for 140 years. Some of your families have been here longer. And they've made this a better place to live. They've built upon the values of compassion, commitment to community, and making this a world a better place. I'm proud of what they stood for. I'm proud to be a descendant of people who came here with a dream. Hopefully, we've all realized that dream. Hopefully, that dream will carry us forward to better days. Thank you.
Have we saved the best for last? Our fifth and final honoree today is the Honorable Judge Ted Sosin, who was born and raised in Hammond, Indiana. He put himself through college at IU Bloomington, doing part-time menial jobs to cover his cost of his education. He married the love of his life, Judy Layton, right out of college, and started his married life by working for an organization called Community Action Against Poverty during the day and attending the night program at IU Indy to earn his law degree. His work as an attorney, mostly handling private cases, quickly evolved into part-time work as a prosecutor, public defender with the Legal Services Organization, and work with the Civil Rights Commission. Ted's legal practice also included a decade-long part-time position as commissioner with the Marion County Circuit Court. In 2002, Ted ran for a position as judge on the Marion County Circuit Court, where he became the first Jewish judge of any circuit court in Indiana. 6 years later, he ran for a position as judge on the Marion County Superior Court, and he served in that position until his retirement in 2014. But behind the scenes, Ted has always been guided by the lessons he learned as a kid. Growing up in humble surroundings, working side by side with steelworkers, and serving at way too many menial jobs to list here. Ted learned respect and humility. Those qualities have guided his professional life as well and have earned him not only deep respect from his colleagues, but many other honors as well. In 2014, he was named Indiana Judge of the Year by the Indiana chapter of Trial Advocates. During his tenure on the bench, Ted earned an almost unheard of 95% approval rating on the Judicial Review Survey conducted by the Indianapolis Bar Association. Stands to his testament as a testament to his fairness, civility, and preparedness as a judge. In 2014, Governor Pence presented Judge Sosin with a Sagamore of the Wabash Award in recognition of the work he did to establish a mentoring program for young attorneys. Now, he sounds like a very busy person. And indeed, he certainly has been. But he still made time to volunteer within our community. Ted has served on the boards of Jewish Family Services, Drug-Free Marion County, and the Martin Luther King Community Center. He's been a youth soccer coach and a Cub Scout leader. He has devoted countless hours to support the Jewish Federation of Indianapolis, the Jewish Community Center, and Indianapolis Hebrew Congregation, all done with the enthusiasm and humility that have defined his life. Ted is the proud father of daughter Rachel Fox, who's married to Dan, with grandchildren Maya, Eli, Sadie, and Jonah, and son Jeremy Sosin, who's married to Stacy Schwein, with grandchildren Ileana, Eliza, and Ben. A talented and creative cook, Ted has been preparing delicious meals for family and friends for decades, yet he has never invited me to his house. He also enjoys trap and target shooting and has received various awards for his skills, including first place in the Indiana Trap Shoot Senior Division in 2013. Today is our great pleasure to honor Judge Ted Sosin with recognition as a Hoosier Jewish legend. Oh, I'm going to go over the podium.
I've been sitting there trying to gin up another 35 minutes of conversation with you all because when I got my first notice of my nomination, it said that I had 6 minutes to talk with you after the presentation. And then when I got my last communication, it said I had 3 minutes. I figured, if I waited another 2 weeks, I could do it by mail. And somebody's already timing me in the front. Well, I have sort of this worked out in my head. I've got another 5 minutes left, or actually another minute and a half. I'm very honored by this nomination, and it's something that really is, it's the frosting on the cake. I retired 11 years ago, had to work to find a suit that fit for today. You know how long it takes to forget how to tie a tie? It's just, it was really unbelievable. And now that I've used up most of my time, I'd like to get to the one thing I wanted to talk about, and that is my wife, Judy. Nobody gets to this point in their life without the care and feeding by someone else. And Judy is that someone else. Long ago, I was reading a foreword to a book, and the author said that he wanted to his editor, he wanted to say that he appreciated the editor as his that's the other thing. That's the other reason I'm retired. It's sometimes difficult. As a wise counselor, an honest advocate, and a friend of his heart. And those three things just have stuck with me over the years. One of our anniversary presents was something that had that engraved on the back of it. And it's so true. I mean, a wise counselor, an honest advocate, and a friend of my heart. So the friend of my heart, and I would like to thank you very much for this afternoon. And I'm under the 3 minutes that I was allotted. Now, I might say that I learned to respect being told how much time I had by the Indiana Supreme Court when they dropped the gavel and said, you've finished your 35 minutes. It was a death penalty case, and I had a little bit more to say, but I just took you at your word. Thank you very much.
Obviously, I want the last word. First of all, again, thank you for everybody coming today and celebrating. Those who are on Zoom, I hope that you enjoyed watching the festivities. I want to thank the Federation of Greater Indianapolis again for co-sponsoring, Mark. And just a reminder that our publications are in the back side of the room. And again, they're $10, which is a really good savings, because otherwise, if you want them, they're 18. So $10 is good. You'll have a little bit of history. A lot of you who are members already have all the books. So, but you can go and look, maybe buy one for a friend. One other thing that the honorees are asked if they would like to come up here by our sign and have pictures taken with your family and friends. Our photographer would be more than happy to take care of that. Also, if you're interested, we have a little bit of snacks in the back, some fruit, and anybody who knows Dory, her pastry. So it's all good stuff. Again, thank you very much for everybody and safe travels. And hopefully, maybe we'll see you again next year. Okay? Thank you so much.